What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pens and Tea, and Parker's gonna have a snack. Today I thought, since you guys loved my vlog style video last time around for my book stuff, I thought I would do it again. But this time it's far too cold to go outside, so I'm going to vlog style around my house. And yeah, you know, you just get all the good stuff. So I only read one book in the month of December. Reason being is because, well, it's busy. It's a busy month. And with Christmas and work and the vid, yeah, things have just gotten really busy. So I only read one book. And I read a big book, big-ish. I read the first book in Robert Jordan's The Wheel of Time. Amazon Prime just came out with the show, and I have now watched it as well. It's gonna get dark for a moment because I'm gonna go get the book. I have watched now that first season. The last episode, as far as this video goes, has not aired yet. So I do not know how they're going to change the last episode, but everything else in this series I have watched, as you can see there. I actually started reading this before I even knew that there was a Amazon show about it. I decided to read it because I was just watching random stuff on YouTube, came across somebody who talks about sci-fi and fantasy. His name is Daniel Green. He's super popular, so I'm sure a good chunk of you have seen it, but that's my jam as far as books go, and so he was obsessed with it, so I decided to pick it up. It is like 800 and something pages. 846 pages. So it's a beefy book, but it was really great. I quite enjoyed it. Okay, Parker. I quite enjoyed it, so I will be continuing on. I do have the first 3 Wheel of Time books. I have had a few spoilers for me, which I will not do for you. One of whom involves my favorite character from the first book and actually the show, which is Moraine. She is the main Aes Sedai in the book, if you know anything about it. If you've read the series, then you probably know the spoiler that I learned about that happens in book 5. So there's that. But I really like this book. I know there are popular criticisms of this for Robert Jordan kind of ripping off Tolkien and his sort of mindset around storytelling, which ironically enough, I'm also rereading Tolkien's Hobbit and Lord of the Rings books. I'm still reading Two Towers. I'm only in chapter 3 of that one, because I gave all of my attention to this one because it hooked me. And so yes, there are a ton of parallels between that book and this. But apparently Robert Jordan kind of develops his own style, and he admits straight off the bat that he was super influenced by that. But apparently he develops his own style. Parker's going to freak out here in a minute. So I'm really excited to see how that evolves. I'm really in love with the characters of this book. I think this book, character building is amazing. I love how almost right away I was deeply involved with each character. Ones obviously I like more than others. My favorite characters thus far is definitely Moraine and Matt. My least favorite characters, probably Nynaeve and Rand, but of the main characters anyways. But even though they're my least favorite, it doesn't mean that I dislike them. I do enjoy their characters. It's just that's the way that it falls. And then in between, sort of, you know, Perrin and Egwene, I still like them. I still feel connected to them, just not as much as the others. But I love the fact that I felt super connected to them all pretty much right away. I love the vivid descriptions. Robert Jordan does get busted a lot for that, for having Tolkien style descriptions where it'll go on and on and on forever. But I actually personally really like that. Yes, Parker, I know, baby. I personally really like that because it immediately, hey. No biting the tree. No biting the tree. Smell the book. Love the book. I personally really like the fact that he tells so many descriptions because you get a very vivid picture of exactly his intention. So I like that quite a bit. I don't love the look of the book, but I mean, that's neither here nor there, really. I also love the fact that the world seems massive. The magic system so far seems really cool. I like that it's relatively open, but there are still a ton of restrictions on it. Obviously, if you watched the show and or read any of the books, you understand what happened with the magic system, and I won't give spoilers for those who haven't read it, but I'm really, really quite pleased. There's sort of controversy in the Wheel of Time sphere surrounding the ending of this book, which admittedly, I will say, didn't quite fit with the way that I thought it was going to go. But I kind of like that. I like the fact that it didn't fit my personal view or assumption of how that would go. But I'm very curious to know what they do with the show, because for the most part, the show has stayed fairly accurate. They've made a ton of changes because they have to, but they've stayed fairly accurate to the book, but they've restructured and reordered everything. So it'll be curious to see what they do at the ending. But anyways, highly, highly recommend this book. Coming January, I do plan on finishing The Two Towers, and I do plan on reading through the second book in the Wheel of Time series, despite the fact that something happens a few books from now that I don't want to have happen. I'm still going to plug through. I read this pretty quickly, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. There were some times where I was reading and I literally read for hours and didn't even notice because it just had my attention. So if you like open, like very like large world building, magic based systems, multi religions, multi frickin' everything, then this is your jam. If you enjoy Lord of the Rings, things like that, you will also like this because it is very influenced for sure. But I love it. I liked it a lot. I think the pacing struggled a little bit here and there, but I appreciate the fact that in between each like intense, like holy flip ball moments, there are those peaceful, quiet beat moments where you get just pure character versus pure plot. I also appreciate the fact that the magic isn't there just to progress the plot. I feel like it enhances the plot. I'm interested to see where it goes because right now it's a little bit chaotic sometimes, but either way, I've been rambling a lot about this one book. But I really, really liked it. And it's the only book that I read for the month of December. So before this gets stupid long, let me jump into the pen and the ink that I've primarily been using for this month. And that is the Kaweco Sport with the with Diamine Polar Glow. So before I get into the nitty gritty of actually showing you said pen and ink, because that was the most common negative specific feedback that I got in the vlog style, which you all seemed to like last time, was that I didn't have the writing sample. So I will include that with the vlog style. Book reviews. Well, not full reviews, they're just sort of what I'm talking about. Anyways, I picked up the cyan version, which is the new limited edition color with the fine nib from Goulet Pens. Other than just putting a brass sheet through the tines to widen them ever so slightly, that's the only modification I did. Kaweco Sports are a little bit known for inconsistent consistency with the quality of their nibs, but this one happened to be really great. I didn't have to put a lot of work into it. The Diamine Polar Glow is actually an ink sample that I have, but I'm thinking I might buy a whole bottle of it because I've been journaling with it a lot lately on 68 GSM Tomoe River paper, and it is phenomenal. I like it a lot, and it was part of the Diamine ink vent calendars from 2019. And I think I might have to pick up a bottle. I really like it. It's a sheen ink. It's very, very sheening ink, but not shimmer, and I don't like shimmer, which is why I didn't get the ink vent calendar in 2019, 2020, 21, whatever. Because I hate shimmery inks. I don't mind to use one every once in a while with a dip pen, but I knew there'd just be too many. So yeah, just didn't do it. Yeah, before I choke on my spit, let's flip around the camera and I'll show you what it looks like. So Diamine Polar Glow from Goulet Pens. I filled it up twice now, but it's a small converter, so it doesn't really require a ton. I do need to fill it up for the third time because it's empty. This pen is looking much more blue on camera than in reality. In reality, it's more of a teal cyan color. But let's get writing, shall we? So you'd think after all these years, writing over top of the tripod would be way easier than it is, but it's still not. So you can actually see here, even before I move the paper, that red sheen is really starting to come out now. It's really, really prevalent. The ink goes down a very lovely blue color, and then as it dries, I mean, we'll just literally even just sit here and watch that. As it dries, that red really starts to pop out. You can start to see the color change now. Color is actually fairly accurate to the camera for that. Not accurate at all for the color of the pen, but pretty darn accurate for the color of the ink. I like that it's fairly wet. It's not a gusher by any means, but it is fairly wet. It comes out of this pen really nicely. It has performed really well. It has not clogged or skipped or anything like that. Now I did widen the tines of this fine nib a little bit, but not a crazy amount, because this one was pretty much good to go right off the bat. This is really smooth, nice and wet, not too toothy, so I definitely got a good one. And as you can see already, there's just so much sheen. And I like the fact that I can use a fine nib for it. I don't know why I like to write fours. I can use a fine nib and it still comes out really, really nicely. So it's a perfect journal pairing, which I quite like. So this is pretty much my most popular pen and ink combo for December. I appreciate you guys watching this whole series throughout this year. I know it was a little jumbled because I didn't get started until later, and I have realized that I actually skipped 2 months. I think September and October I skipped somehow, and I don't even know how because I filmed them. But yeah, so it's almost the whole 2020 went up. But I will be doing a top 5 books that I read this year, top 5 that I'm going to look forward to reading in 2022, and then I'll be actually doing them every month, like I did in November and December, towards the end of the month on a Tuesday, so you guys can join in, and then I will also throw it up on Patreon too, between maybe 1 or 2 books that I want to read, and you guys get to pick the ones I do. So yeah, I hope you liked this video. If you're still watching it, thank you so much. You're the reason why I make them. And hit that like button, the subscribe, all that good stuff. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye.